Hey guys, I wanted to talk about the Redux setup. So what really goes into making this whole thing work in the first place? So it's not actually very important for actually using it. If you've already stumbled across a project, or you start with this React seed that we linked in the store video earlier on in the series, you don't really need to set it up, but it's kind of good to understand like how that magic happens. It's not really magic at all. I'll quickly show you. It's not super relevant if you already have one set up though. So this is the app component of this app. This is the to-do example again. And you can see the main thing that's going on here is we've got so React Redux again. So I guess this is the third thing. So the main thing React Redux does is provide that connect method, which we already had a look at. And now it's providing us something called a provider component, which we're then using in here. So this is something else, and we've got this create store stuff, which we're going to look at in a minute. So effectively we're creating the single Redux store that you've seen in the console inside Chrome, and we're passing it into this provider. And then what that means is that within any of this stuff, and we're using React Router here, but that's not that relevant, anything inside here can then connect. That's all it means. And so this is the way that Redux is letting components connect to parts of the store, because the provider is like has the store, and is when the store changes, it's making its children, so the things inside these two provider tags here can get access to that store if they're connected. So that's kind of like the first thing you have to do, and then we've got this create store and Redux store. So let's have a look at that. So it's in here. Yeah. So in here we've got create store from Redux, apply middleware, and then we're using a few middleware. So we're using the logger, Redux logger middleware. So middlewares and Redux are not mega important, but they're basically bits of code that runs every time you fire an action, and they maybe do something in some way. So the three we're using here, so create logger, you've seen what that does. It logs things to the console, and that's pretty useful. Freeze is another good one. So freeze means if you mutate something. So we were saying before, you can't mutate in a reducer. If you do mutate in a reducer, freeze will like get on your case and will bollock you and say no, you can't do that, and it will be an error. So you'll immediately notice that you've like screwed up, and then you can correct it. So it just like gives you a nice quick feedback that you've done something wrong. Thunk we're going to talk about probably in a dedicated video, but it lets you dispatch more than one action at a time and dispatch actions asynchronously. So what I mean by that is dispatch actions after some sort of delay. So maybe you go and do a network request and you get some data back after a few hundred milliseconds. You can then dispatch an action at that point rather than doing it immediately as we've done so far. So what else? So in here we use create logger, so we create a logger, then we apply the three middleware. So we've got the middlewares in here. We call apply middleware against create store. It's all kind of, you don't need to go into too much detail on this stuff, but basically we're applying three middlewares, creating a store with middleware, and then we return the store. We've also got this root reducer in the mix, so let's have a look at that. So the root reducer is really it's when you see the store, and I kept saying, oh, there's to-dos and there's user, this is what's doing that. So it's kind of a top level reducer that combines all the others, and they provide in Redux this combine reducers. This is a very standard way of doing things. This syntax here is a bit weird. It's very commonly used for this, but actually just means this. So like, okay, let's leave it like that. But this is effectively what this means. So you're saying, oh, I'm gonna grab the to-dos reducer, I'm gonna put it in like the root reducer, so then it will show up in the store. So that means if you want to add another reducer, you need to come in here, import it, and then put it in here. So if you wanted to add like, I don't know, a cats reducer, you need to do this. Okay, that's it. So you will edit this file every now and then, but not particularly exciting. And I think that's more or less everything to get it set up. So if you want to set it up for yourself in your project, then you can. And obviously we have Webpack and all of that stuff. You really need like we use Babel, and we're using quite a forward. We can have a look at that as well. Actually, we're using two presets: ES 2015 React, and then Spread, and
this. I'm not even quite sure why we need that, but I guess we probably do. Yeah, and that's kind of it. But so you'll want something like that, and then Webpack. But you know, if in doubt, you can check out this project. At the time of like making this video, it's pretty recent, but it depends when you're coming back. Yeah, and that's how Redux is configured.